The possible reversal of Roe v. Wade is sending shockwaves through the Democratic Party. It comes just months before what has been historically a difficult midterm election for the party in control of the White House. Many have predicted the Democrats to lose control of the House of Representatives and possibly the Senate too. But yesterday's leak could serve as a galvanizing issue for the party in power.
When I went to get my abortion, I didn't go to a gas station. I didn't enter a fast food restaurant. I didn't go to a bank. I went to a healthcare facility because abortion care is healthcare.
I am here because I am angry, and I am here because the United States Congress can change all of this. Yes. Angry but committed. Understand this. Understand this. I have seen the world where abortion is illegal. And we are not going back. Not ever.
We will vote to protect a woman's right to choose. Every American is going to see where every senator stands. Which side are they on? Women's health, women's rights, a mainstream America that protects liberty, or on the side of darkness, retrograde history.
As the Senate Majority Leader just alluded to there, Democrats made the first move yesterday to consider a bill to codify Roe v. Wade. Though it's expected to fail, the procedural vote would put each senator on the record for where they stand on this issue. Joining us now, Democratic Congresswoman from Wisconsin, Gwen Moore. She has been an outspoken opponent of efforts to limit women's reproductive rights and care. Congresswoman, great to see you this morning. Thanks for being here. There's been a lot of speculation as to the source of this leak and the motivation behind it, but we're going to set that aside. If the opinion becomes final and what comes to Supreme Court rules to eliminate Roe v. Wade, what do you think will happen to Democrats ahead of November's midterm elections?
Thanks for having me, Jonathan. I'm one of those people. It's so grateful for all of the people who anticipated this, because I was one of those very naive people thinking, oh, my God, there's no way they could possibly take us back into the dark caverns of pre-Roe v. Wade. I mean, I've lived long enough to see people ruin their reproductive health with self-abortions. I have seen been 2-3 degrees away from people who have died from botched abortions. I've seen people die because they needed an abortion because they had bad heart and gave birth anyway and succumbed and left, 11 children orphaned. And I personally, have had to hustle up as a poor Black woman, hustle up money and seeking money from Women's Fund to travel to New York to get abortion care. This is not funny. This brings back all the nightmares that I've ever had of the body snatcher, of Big Brother, and people need to understand that it won't stop with eviscerating a woman's right to choose. It will impinge on every other sort of unenumerated right. So it's so interesting that Justice Alito could just ignore the Ninth Amendment that says that that unenumerated rights, should not be abridged. And so that just puts on the chopping block, gay marriage, birth control, numbers of other rights that have been decided under the same kind of law. People better wake up. And so I think ahead of November, we ought to put a target on every single, especially in that Senate, because they're holding up our bill that we passed.
Well, Congressman, let me ask you about that. You took me right there. Let me ask you about that right now, that the Women's Health Protection Act has stalled in the Senate, even after it passed in the House last year, before any of this was put into the public consciousness because of this decision. We heard from Majority Leader Schumer. He's going to call for a vote, but it's not likely that he has those votes. So what would it mean if this bill fails in the Senate right now?
The people are coming. We need to come and vote these people out. We need a nonviolent revolution, not any kind of January 6th. We need a November 8th. And we need to put people on notice that the time is up. If they breach this basic human right of not only women, but men too, forced parenthood, it is chilling to think about going back 50 years. And I agree with Senator Warren. We're not going back. We're not going back. It is time to rise up.
All right, Democratic Congresswoman from Wisconsin, Gwen Moore, we certainly appreciate your passion on this issue, and thank you for being with us today.